Welcome, race fans, to another fantastic race here in the American Sim Racing Series. We're on to the final round of the first round of the playoffs here. My name is Carlos Acosta, and joining me is AJ Digby, one of our fan favorites for another one of our leagues. AJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, just excited for a good race here in Las Vegas.
That's great to hear. Now, while we are on the final round here on the Sam Maxwell Truck Series, we are at Las Vegas, and while they are at qualifying, let's go see if we can pull up what the points are looking like here on this final round. Now, for the Truck Series, while Jared Mogart did win a race, he is not racing here tonight, so that eliminates his instant pass to the next round. So he does have to point his way in. That being said, with 39 points ahead of the cut line with 3,085 points, he's more likely a shoe-in, AJ. Will Wursler in second, Joseph Salvo third, Jason Stewart fourth, Richard Stallings fifth, Jared Haggerty sixth, Jim Foose seventh, and Mitch Brown in eighth. Only 8 drivers do get to advance to the second round, with the real potential drivers being 6th all the way down to 11th place. Of course, Evan Black no longer racing in the league, so he is not going to be really participating on this battle. It's just that final spot. Mitch Brown was currently ahead by 4 points. Kelsey Rogers in 9th, 4 points out of it. Tim Knott 5th, and Alan Young 6th. All these drivers could have a good shot at get advancing into the race. All it takes is one bad race from maybe even Stallings, Haggerty, Foose to just get themselves out of the picture. Let's go ahead and take a look at quickly how the qualifying is going for a bunch of these drivers. As on the top of the board, we are seeing Ty Hester. Let's see who else is on track. We got Mitch Brown in the 51 on track, trying to get himself a good qualifying spot. It's always important to qualify well, especially at a track kind of like this. I don't know, AJ, you've had a bit more history running the trucks at this type of track than I have. How is the just necessarily how would you approach this type of race?
Yeah, Vegas is a very interesting track. It has a very similar feel to Atlanta, but a little bit more grip. But it is a hot one here so far today. Track temps are at 98 so far, and they were at 100 in practice. So these drivers have a little bit of hot track temps to deal with, as some of these drivers will slide around these corners a little bit. But Las Vegas is a pretty good track, very open, lots of possibilities from multiple lanes, as well as the white line on the front stretch means that these drivers will take to the apron sometimes to try to make a pass there on the front stretch. So lots of different opportunities for these drivers to try to make moves to get some side-by-side racing and advance their positions. And as we had seen with the points, a lot of possibilities to get to that 8th spot. So these drivers are really going to be wanting to have a really good race, and that 8th, 9th, I mean even 10th, 11th, up until 6th, like you said, this could be anybody's race. So got to have a clean race first of all to be able to give yourself a shot at it, but also got to be able to make up positions. And it'll be interesting to see if some of these guys stay out to try to lead a lap and gain a bonus point to help them out even further in that standing.
Speaking of points, I want to go ahead and take a quick moment once again, well, not for the first time here, to mention the point standings for the Premier American Sim Racing Premier Series, which is the combination of the Cup Series and the Truck Series. This will be their first playoff race, and only the top 10 qualify. We got Jared Mogart, Will Wursler, Mitch Brown, Joseph Saville, Jason Stewart, Jim Foose, Alan Young, Kelsey Rogers, and Tim Knott and Richard Stallings, all qualifying for this this ultimate top dog competition here. We'll have more on that after this race goes on. And going on to the next race, we got the next 3 weeks are all going to be Cup action. So I'm excited to see that. It's been a truck month or truck 2 months of trucks here for a while recently. We got some Cup cars coming up. It's exciting to see what these drivers are going to be switching up to the Cup car. Moving on, we are just over 5 minutes. Under 5 minutes left of qualifying. We got a couple more drivers on track. We got Lee Staples exiting pit road, going on track. We also have Doug Mullins. So far, 19 drivers have qualified, and I'm seeing about 26, 27 trucks are competing tonight. For those drivers are challenging themselves to advance into the next round of the playoffs. Just one simple mistake, even in the early part of the race, one simple mistake can really put you too far back in a position where you may not be able to recover from it. I've made that mistake many times, and even in a league I ran in this week, I made a mistake of just messing up a couple corners, and I eliminated myself from playoff contention in a league I participated in. So it's a tough battle. You're excited to make the playoffs, but you also get that nervousness and that feeling, that bad feeling if you don't advance to the next round. But we're also talking with a championship contending driver, AJ. AJ, how do you handle the challenges of a playoff?
Yeah, so as I had mentioned earlier, one of the biggest challenges is just to try to keep your cars or truck as clean as possible, especially in a series where you definitely don't want to have to sit on pit road for repairs. In this Impossible series, we are a little bit lucky to have a couple fast repairs, allow all the drivers to have multiple chances to be able to compete, but we also have a smaller field size than this, so we kind of need that to help hold up the field sizes. Every single one of our competitors has a physical disability, so we definitely need those fast repairs, which allows a little bit more freedom in the way that we can drive in the playoffs. But especially in a series like this, you really have to try to keep that truck clean as possible, but also just having a good, smooth race. Understand where your weaknesses are on the track. Understand that you don't want to put yourself in a dangerous position. If somebody's trying to dive 3 wide, maybe it's smarter to back out of it unless it's very late in the race. So just trying to be smart with your truck and your placement, and to get that thing around to the finish line is the first challenge. And then also kind of understanding your situation. If you're ninth on the outside looking in, then you're going to be a little bit more willing to push a little bit harder and to try to make up some spots. Maybe stay out and gather a bonus point under the first caution, knowing that you'll lose a little bit of track position, but you also gain that bonus point and you have plenty of the race to make it up. So a couple different strategies that could be played out to try to gather some extra points, but these drivers will be constantly with the gears turning in their heads, trying to find ways to gather every single point that they can to either keep them above the cut line or to get themselves above the cut line. But like you said, there will be mistakes that'll be had, especially on a hot track with the side-by-side racing that we're expecting to have here today. And just really want to keep yourself out of that wall, especially out of turn 2 can be dangerous onto the backstretch. And then coming out of 2 and out of 4, it could get a little bit loose and wiggly. So we'll be watching that over the course of tonight, and this is going to be a really good race.
Yes, I agree. Now, AJ, you joined us here one time previously. I believe it was for the last race. So with that one race of experience of seeing these drivers compete, how do you feel what type of show do you feel like these drivers are just going to put out for us tonight, and what type of challenges are they all facing?
Yeah, if you are new to the this racing series watching right now, like I was last week, you'll realize that these drivers put on a great show. A lot of these drivers have a lot of speed, but they also have a lot of consistency. We had a long green flag run to end the race at Darlington, which is a tough track, where there was a full green flag run, a pit stop, and then another full green flag run to end the race. And even at the beginning, when there was a couple cautions, it was really good, tight racing that, like you said, it's one small mistake that can end a couple people's day. So these guys put on a great show week in, week out. And I know that was only my first week, but I'm real excited to see how this week goes at a different type of track, also with different cars. And obviously the trucks have a much different package than the A Series NASCAR does. So these drivers will have a little bit more freedom, a little bit more throttle play in the corners here tonight. And it'll be interesting to see how that progresses.
That's true, and Darlington isn't a joke. It's very hard to run a very clean race there like these guys did. I've seen a lot of other series and leagues throughout my just career watching just struggle at that track, and just to do it and not to like have one clean run but 2 clean runs including green flag pit stops. That's just great to see. Now all these cars are gritting up. Let's go see if we can pop it up and take a look at who qualified where, as Starting on the pole, I can already see Ty Hester will be claiming that pole position. Congratulations to Ty. Kelsey Rogers will be starting in second place. Third place, we're going to have Brian Yazik with Mitch Brown on the outside. Fifth place will be Will Worsler with Jared Haggerty on sixth place. Seventh will be L. Bryce Whitson with Jim Foose, league owner, in eighth. Ninth will be Tim Knott, and 10th will be Jimmy McKee, AJ.
Yeah, in row 6, we'll have Lee Staples and Troy Haight, the 26 and 28 trucks. In row 7, we'll have Mark Kahn, the 39 truck, and Alan Young. In row 8 will be Tyler Seville and Doug Mullins, both Toyotas. In row 9, we'll have Jonathan Holstein and Edward Bray. And row 10, Steve Buhala and Cody Speecher.
All right, and the blackjack position, the last driver to put up a qualifying time will be Gary Whitson. Now, we had a couple more drivers that didn't post a qualifying lap time. That will include Jason Stewart, number 1, JR4 in, the number 1 of Jason Stewart, the number 4 of JR Bash, number 17 of Richard Stallings, the number 30 of Brad Cross, the number 06 of Jack Wells, and the 47 of Richard Fletcher. Another driver that did catch my name here is Mark Kahn. Mark Kahn, I believe is how you say his name. It's been a while since we've seen him racing in here, and he had to step out for, I believe he had some mechanical issues going on with his setup. And I'm not sure you're familiar with Mark, but I've seen his setup a couple times. He's got a really, really nice setup. He also runs a couple other leagues and broadcasts his races. And it's glad to see Mark back. Hopefully he can have a great time out here tonight in his return. And well, if not, then we all know he's having fun out there, and he's somebody who's really enjoying the benefits of sim racing.
Yeah, one quick thing that I will want to point out here before we go green is Gary Whitson was one of the fastest in practice, and he must have had a really bad qualifying lap as he qualified 2 seconds slower than the rest of the field, so he'll be making his way up through the back, as well as Richard Stallings and Jason Stewart, 2 guys that are 4th and 5th right now in the standings. Probably fine, but starting at the back, I don't know if that was on purpose to try to just stay clean and stay towards the back, or if they're or if something happened where they're just having to start towards the back. But a couple big names that we're going to have to see working their way through the field tonight.
That's true, and pace cars are going to get ready to pull off here to start this 84-lap final round here in the Truck Series playoffs. Pace car is off. Green flag's about to come out. And there we go. Ty Hester's going to be leading the field. 84 laps all around here in this fabulous racetrack.
Yeah, we're 2x2 here at the front. Ty Hester was able to pull up a little bit to be single file, but behind him is a pack of 2x2s as everybody's starting to hopefully space out a little bit.
Oh, we see Ty
Hester's defending the inside. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. This is what I always tell my commentators. I'd rather you guys cut each other off than not say anything at all. But yeah, we saw in the backstreet there Ty Hester just draft dodging some of these drivers, maybe a little bit early blocking perhaps from 35, a couple other drivers in the back that we are seeing. But Ty Hester's pretty up to a pretty decent lead. But now that I'm saying that, the number 35, Kelsey Rogers, is starting to challenge him. But that middle to outside line is really pulling off towards the middle of the corner, allowing Ty to get a really good run as we're taking a look at the 29 going side by side with the 88, and the 6 of Jared Hagley also going side by side with the 51. But other than that, while Kelsey Rogers does appear to be trying to put up a challenge towards the leader, he doesn't have the quite exit momentum to clear that off, as now we're seeing Will Worsler trying to pull up and pass another driver at 55 with Yazik.
That Ty Hester looked to get a little bit too high that time. Kelsey Rogers was able to make it side by side up at the front. But these guys battling back and forth, 2 completely distinct lines towards the front. But as we can see further back in the pack a little bit, it's starting to single file its way out. Some side by side battling is going on here and there. And as I mentioned, some of these guys using that apron, trying to get as much time out of these laps as they can. trying to move forward as much as possible. And it'll be interesting to see how these lines progress. You can definitely see some of these guys, even in single file, some of them are running the low line, some of them are running high, some of them are running middle, and we'll see how that progresses over the day, especially with the new track temp model that iRacing has released. It'll be interesting to see if maybe that bottom or top line will start to gain a little bit of heat and gain a little bit of speed, or vice versa with either line.
That's true. That's one of the things we had since our last broadcast. We had a brand new update. I believe this will be the last one of the 2019 calendar year for iRacing. We always get these every quarter, and it's just great to see the new stuff that got added, including the all-new 2019 Xfinity cars, as well as the new beta damage model for the Skippies, and the new tire model for a couple other cars, including the K-Man series, which I have.
Our leader getting sideways, spinning across the front stretch. Into the grass, he saves it. He's driving through the grass now, but that's our leader, Ty Hester. He's no longer the leader. He's looking for a safe rejoin here, just what I was talking about. His truck just got loose out of 4.
Yeah, you saw it right there. Just when he got back on the gas, he was wiggling a little bit. Go back just a little bit more. Take a look at the gyro cam. He's going to be wiggling a little bit right there. Corrects it, and it just isn't enough. But let me tell you what, he did a great job of not wrecking that car or bringing out a caution. I've seen many drivers, including myself, just do the wrong thing there and end up bringing out a caution that just couldn't ruin a good run. So he's dropped back from all the way from first place to 20th place. AJ, what do you have to say about that?
That was a fantastic save. He's just got to be happy that he was able to keep that truck clean. Just a little bit of grass on his tires and nothing else to boot. So just got to recollect. Still a lot of racing left to go. So just take a little bit of a breath. Acclimate yourself to where you're at on track. You know, being up front, he was probably one of the fastest ones out there, and now he's got to work his way through the field. But recollect, realize where the guys are running around you, and find the lanes to be able to move forward, hopefully. And hopefully his tires aren't too burnt out a little bit from that spin. It didn't seem to be too egregious, so shouldn't have any flat spots or anything like that. But he has a lot of time left in this race to be able to move forward and gain spots and make his way back up towards the front. He's definitely has shown through practice and qualifying he has the speed to do so. Just gotta have patience and make his way through the field, one truck at a time.
That's true. We also have a couple comments going on, all from one person. We have Jordan Harnish, who unfortunately had to work today, so we're actually going to cut that off for a moment as we're having the leaders going side by side as Kelsey Rogers going to be challenged by the 55 of Brian Yazik. Going side by side into the corner, we've seen that middle outside line prevail, especially in the exit of the corners, but it seems like whatever the 35 is doing isn't really working for him, as the 55 of Kelsey Rogers kind of has an idea as to what's going on down there in the inside, and he's making it work, because we're also seeing the 88 of L. Bryce Whitson and Will Worcester going side by side. We have a new leader, the 55 of Brian Yazik.
Yeah, Yazik was able to pull through there down on the bottom lane. Gets a little bit close to the wall there on the exit of 2, but was able to drive that low line really strong. And I think in 3 and 4, Kelsey Rogers had a little bit of that loose feeling on that outside line that Ty had earlier in that run. So Yazik, a little bit of contact there, possibly.
Pardon me, Rogers got a little bit loose, and I think we're having a little bit of an issue with some of our paint schemes. I've been noticing that people have been having issues with trading paints pretty much all week, especially since the build came out. So we do apologize to some of the drivers and or fans of the drivers watching tonight that aren't seeing the paint schemes correctly. So I can't really do anything about that. I have refreshed trading paints multiple times. Hopefully that gets fixed within the next couple of days, hopefully before the next broadcast. Going back to what I was saying, Jordan Harness couldn't make it here today. He's saying a couple stuff, and no, Jordan, I will not say that Hester sucks, not even for $5. So Hester is a good person. I will not say that to him. You take that money and you maybe donate it to somebody.
The field is so far single file going on down here, but down in 5th place, there's a 3-way battle there for 3 trucks. Oh, as Jared Haggerty gets loose, is going to give up that 5th position to Mitch Brown, as well as others, 3 others driving through. But there's a 3-way battle going on there, and he just got loose off of 4 on the bottom line. So both the top and the bottom, we've seen trucks get loose as Haggerty's going to continue to fall back. Just lost some of that momentum that he had from that run, and he's going to continue to lose a couple positions. But Mitch Brown, Jimmy McKee, some of those guys are going to say, thank you, I'll take those spots, and move right on through.
Going into, like you mentioned, a lot of people are going by single file. We were seeing the 24 going side by side for a quick moment. Pardon me, not the 24, the 42 of Jim Cruz. He seemed to have gone single file recently. We saw a 6 car have an issue. He's side by side at the moment, but he's going to get passed by the 33 of Gary Whitson. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our other drivers. We have a driver in pit road. That's the 36 of Ty Hester. That is not good. I'm not really seeing any significant damage, but I am going blind. So, AJ, are you seeing anything that's going to cause him to go down pit road this early?
I currently don't see any damage. I don't know if he worked his way back into the grass and the wall, or if he just wanted to try to short pit and come in early. So, interesting call to come in early. So.
It is a somewhat short race here, 84 laps, and we're already at lap 15. Granted, we haven't had a caution, and that, of course, can change any time. I'm not trying to jinx anything. But this should be a very quick race, so this is not good for Ty Hester. This is not how he wanted to start his race overall. I mean, he didn't need a couple laps to get the pole. That's a great start to the race in general, but, like, in the grand scheme of things, getting loose by yourself and losing a bunch of positions is not the ideal task we want to do. So with a short amount of race, very little stuff he can do in this type of race to get himself back in a position, as he was in pit road for just, the average amount of time. He's back on track now, but he has lost a lap. We also have Jack Wells in the 06. He's been down in pit road for a while too. Not seeing any significant damage on his end, as now we're seeing pardon me, I got the hiccups. Now we're seeing Brad Cross. Oh, AJ, I need you to take over. I got the hiccups real bad.
So Brad Cross is in pit road here. The 30 car, it appears like either he had an early pit stall or he just drove right through pit road there. But I had scrolled back a little bit through Ty Hester, and there was one other moment where he had gotten loose out of turn 4, kind of the exact same way that he did the first time. Didn't go as low, didn't end up into the grass this time, but I wonder if he was just, hey, I'm dealing with too much handling issues. I'm going to come down pit road, get some fresh tires, and only be 1 lap down at this point. So he would currently be in the lucky dog position to be able to get it back, but it does appear that,
of course, as the laps go on,
that Brad Cross is down in pit road again.
Oh wow.
Not sure what is going on this time.
Yeah, we saw him drive through it the first time. It's possible maybe he was trying to short pit, missed his stall like he almost did right there again, had to back up the second time. So maybe that's probably what happened. I mean, I will admit I've done the same thing as well. Thankfully, it's always been under caution, hasn't been under green flag condition. But that's just, I mean, we even see the pros do it sometimes. It isn't as common, but then again, it's also the first time I'm seeing him do it. It's just a difficult thing to do. Maybe it's a new paint scheme, whatever reason, he had to go down pit road a second time, and that's really going to hurt his chances of having a good finish here tonight. We're seeing a small battle here for him, what I want to say is 7th place. Yes, a small 4-car battle that's now breaking away into 2-car battles going in. Off screen, though, Brian Yosick still has the race lead. He's got he had about 5 tenths of a second. Now it's being cut short a little bit quickly with Will Worcester. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. Let's take a look at how the 29 of Will Worcester is approaching his lap being behind the race leader, Brian Yosick. Taking a look at the previous laps, looks like Brian Yosick was just a little bit faster, not enough. Oh, you saw right there. I don't know if you saw it, AJ, but if you go back just a little, Brian Yosick got himself a little bit loose, was wiggling it through the corners. This track is very slick out here tonight, and I can only assume it's going to get slicker as the race goes on. We're seeing the 29 of Will Worcester driving in just a little bit lower in turns 3 and 4. However, he was pretty much almost dead on in turns 1 and 2. Let's see if Yosick adjusts his line after going a little bit loose in turns 1 and 2 that last lap. Going into it, both of these drivers running around the same line. We're seeing Will Worcester get really loose. He's really loose there. He was barely even turning the wheel throughout the middle of the corner. That's just telling me that his car is loose, but his car is also fast. He's got the 35 Kelsey Rogers up his behind right there. A little bit more looser. We're seeing the 29 get even more loose right there. It's AJ, man, what would you recommend to do in a situation like this?
Yeah, at this point, just scrolling through the field right now, it looks like a lot of these drivers are loose, and the biggest thing is you just you want as little actual physical input into the wheel as possible. So whether that be trying to run the high line, which we're seeing some of these guys do, or try to run a high line a little bit slower and then apex your way off, just as little inputs as possible. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys are able to handle this as it goes on, as we're currently 23 laps in, almost a quarter of the race, over a quarter of the race is over actually. But these drivers already definitely dealing with some looseness, and lap times are about a second and a half slower than where they started this off. So some of these drivers could start to think about, hey, what if I come in, get fresh tires and be faster? But also, I'm not sure how the fuel window is in these trucks at Vegas. So some of these drivers, I don't know if they'll be able to make it on one stop, two stops, but it seems like everybody in the field right now is dealing with a little bit of looseness, especially out of 4 here. So even our leader, Brian Yazik, got a little bit of a wiggle there out of 4 that time. So the whole field is dealing with it. And currently, it seems like most of the field is single file, especially up towards the front. They had a nice close compact terrain going on there for a little bit, but all of these loose symptoms are now leading for everybody to spread out just a little bit, as we're seeing a battle back here.
13th, 12th, I wouldn't say actually. No, 14th. That's the 42. Jim Foos battling 39 of Mark Kahn. We also have Jonathan Holstein. And by the way, if I do butcher your last names, I'm really, really sorry about that. I understand the frustration. People butcher my last name all the time too. I just forget because of one ear out the other. Developing news though, maybe not as major developing, but we did see while you were talking there for a brief moment, Ty Hester went down Perry Road and he's staying down in Perry Road. He does have some more right side damage, really, really heavy right side damage. Looks like he took the wall down. And I think he may just be parking it for the night. Already down 5 laps. He's been in pit road for just right now 2 minutes in his pit stall. 2 minutes and 24 seconds in pit road the whole way around. As actually, I lied to you. I'm a bad liar, and I apologize for that. He's actually exiting pit road right now, so it seems like maybe when he tore down the wall, he had some required repairs he had to take care of, and he was in pit road for just over 2 minutes and 25 seconds. Currently 6 laps down, and that heavy damage is probably gonna put him a couple more laps down as the race goes on. Something I actually did want to mention, AJ, is just stuff I find that just happens in these type of races. In a loose condition type of race like this, where the faster you are, it's almost about the looser you get. We find a lot of drivers not really battling other people, but battling themselves in the track, trying to not spin out, trying to just keep it off the wall, just trying to keep it in a straight line in general. And I find that these races tend to be some of the more cleaner, some of the more green flag, maybe even green flag pit stop causing races, as we see the 33 Gary Whitson get really loose and do a great job of saving it as he hangs on to his 8th place spot. But the reason I find that to happen is mostly because, you know, they're battling themselves in the racetrack. They're not battling others. They're not concentrating on just passing other cars. They're just concentrating on staying on track. And, you know, they don't have that confidence that some of these, like, drafting type of racing gives people. They're just concentrating on, you know, not wrecking themselves. So that's why these races tend to stay green.
Yeah, this race so far staying very green. Is we've seen a lot of people be able to wiggle. We've seen a little bit of side-by-side battle, but for the most part, these drivers stay in single file, trying to do what they can to keep their truck straight. Is even if they do get a little bit of a wiggle, these guys are definitely skilled enough, as we've been able to see, that these guys are able to save it and not spin out in front of the whole pack. So here with Jared Haggerty in 7th place, there's a big pile behind him, as Gary Whitson right now is looking to the inside to try to take that 7th place away. Currently he has taken it away, but these guys, as well as this big train of cars behind them, have all been pretty close here for the last so many laps. And I did want to mention that Brad Cross had taken his truck behind pit road to the garage. It looks like he is done for today. As you had mentioned, Ty Hessler with some damages. He was able to get him repaired and get back out on the track. But another thing I wanted to mention is Gary Whitson, who we're seeing right here in this Craftsman truck. He started this race in 21st. He was one of those ones that did not run a qualifying lap. As I mentioned, he had the mistake on the qualifying lap, as I mentioned before. He was one of the fastest in practice, and he had started 21st and is right now up into 8th, battling for that 7th position. As we're able to see him up towards the front. Ty Hessler right now working his way. He has a little bit of right front damage still, but he also has the fresh tires. So Ty Hessler is showing us what fresh tires can do, as he just is able to drive right through the pack. He is a couple laps down, but I wonder if some of these guys will take notice of that as we're getting a little bit closer towards the halfway point. And maybe some of these guys will take notice of, hey, that's how the fresh tires go, and maybe I should think about taking them sooner rather than later and trying to make up time on that undercut.
Mitch Brown has some heavy right side damage I'm seeing, and looks like he tacked the wall maybe a couple laps ago. Is now at 29, is pulling away from the 51. That damage from 51 is even causing that front end to kind of like bent in a little bit on itself. So heavy damage to that Patriot truck of Mitch Brown. Hopefully he can get down pit road and get that repaired pretty quickly. I know he wants a caution to get that damage fixed, as we see a 33 of Gary Whitson down pit road. You mentioned his Craftsman truck, and I was about to laugh and say, hey man, that's not the name of the series. Then I realized, oh, his sponsor is Craftsman. And I was just glad I stayed quiet. But now that I mentioned it, I kind of confused myself as to why I even embarrassed myself right now.
And as you mentioned, Mitch Brown wants to get that damage fixed, but also I think he wants this thing to stay green a little bit. He's currently up in 3rd position. He is our 8th place driver in the standings, currently +4 on Kelsey Rogers in 9th. So Kelsey Rogers is behind him, so he does have his competitor right behind him. He's able to see where he's at, but he also is currently riding in the 3rd position, and knowing that he's able to get a good number of points. And if this thing stays green a little bit, this might actually play out into his favor, at least for now, as yellow would bunch everything together and possibly lead to more carnage. Another little bit of updates on the points. Tim Knott is currently running in 11th position. He was 10th in the points, 5 points down. And then Alan Young was 11th in points, 6 points down. He is currently running in the 6th position. So some good possible points there. But with Mitch Brown currently running 3rd, that is their most obvious bet. Their next closest bet is Jim Foose, who is 10 points to the good, but he is currently running in 14th. He had qualified 8th and is now back in 14th. So either he's trying to take it a little bit easy to keep that truck clean, or he is struggling a little bit. So a lot of these guys close onto the bubble that are having pretty good races and able to move their trucks forward. Alan Young's qualified 14th, up in 6th currently. And then one of the other big ones to see is that Jim Foose qualified 8th and is now down to 14th. So those two drivers almost flip-flopped, as currently we are having a side-by-side battle here back in the back.
We got a couple more drivers going down Perry Road, a couple drivers of the incorrect paid scheme, so once again we do apologize for that. It's out of our control at the moment. We'll see if maybe we can do anything for the next broadcast. Seeing side by side the 6th Jared Haggerty overtaking the 24 Alan Young. Alan Young is one of these drivers that going into the race was out of the cutoff lines, which you mentioned, just off by a couple of points. Actually, he's coming by about, I can't do math, a couple of points. But yeah, going into this race, he really wants him to find himself having a good finish. But with the way Mitch Brown and Kelsey Rogers are running, he's going to need to do better than 7th now at this point. I'm sure Alan Young's going to be going out there with the intention to win this race, but with all these heavy hitters out there, still doing really good and handling themselves, it's going to be a little bit of a hard task that Adam's found himself in.
I do not mean to cut you off here, but Kelsey Rogers has a little bit of right front damage, so at some point while we were going away talking about that great battle back there and all these point standings, he's got a little bit of right front damage, and it's shown. His last few laps have been almost a second to a second and a half slower than he was running. This big pack of Jared Haggerty, Alan Young, Troy Haight, Jimmy McKee, all these guys are starting to slowly charge towards Kelsey Rogers. And with us almost halfway in this race, Kelsey Rogers is going to definitely want to be thinking about diving into pit road, getting some fresh tires and possibly some of that damage repaired. But that could be a big break in this race for a guy like Alan Young, who is close outside the points. But this is also good for Mitch Brown, who's currently sitting up in third, and he probably saw that on his rearview mirror and knows that Kelsey just got a little bit of damage, and he just needs to keep his truck as clean as possible. As Mitch Brown, for reference, is currently entering turn 3. Kelsey Rogers is getting loose off of 2, down into the inside wall. That does not look good.
I think he's just going to bring out a caution. He's driving it backwards just a little bit as he gets turned around. We'll see. I don't think there's going to be a caution coming out for this minor incident. We see the 29 of Woolworth starts going down pit road. Something I wanted to mention while you were talking is that 35 of Kelsey Rogers, what I probably would have done is, I've already seen people going down pit road. I would just accept the loss, go down pit road, maybe repair a little bit of damage just to see how bad it was. But definitely get some fresh Goodyears on it, and it seems like with him staying out, that damage he had, especially to his quarter panel, his rear quarter panel, really got him even more loose than he already was, and that allowed giving himself a little bit too much speed. As we see the 88 of L. Bryce Whitson, Jared Mogart, Troy Haight going down pit road, Jimmy McKee. We got a bunch of drivers going down pit road right now. It's almost like as if we're under yellow and the pit road is open. A bunch of drivers going down pit road right now. We're gonna see if any of these drivers in here have any issues going into their stalls. Hopefully they don't, because
a lot of these drivers trying to pull off of 4 with a lot of speed, so it'll be interesting to see how they get pulling into their stalls. Yeah, there's a car spun back there, the 17. A lot of action here on pit road. Richard Stallings had spun there back in pit road, but yeah, some of these drivers coming in hot. I don't know. Stallings just loses it.
Yeah, looks like a little bit too much rear brake for me.
Looked like he was just trying to get into his stall hot, make up as much time as possible, and instead he ends up losing a lot of time. But a lot of action on pit road. A lot of these guys going for the undercut. We'll have to see how that works out, as our leader Brian Yazek is still out on track, as well as Alan Young. We mentioned Alan Young. Oh, Alan Young currently just pulled into pit road, so currently had enough there. But our leader, Brian Yazek, still staying out currently, and we'll have to see how that overcut works. Was able to lead a little bit more laps, maybe hoping for caution to pin a lot of these drivers to lack down, but giving it up now. Yazek enters pit road. Looks like he got it low down past enough.
Now, I don't know if you mentioned this or not, but did the 24 truck lead a lap throughout that exchange?
I do not believe so. And Alan Young looked like he was trying to stay out to get a lap led, but with Yazek not coming to pit road, I don't think Alan was able to get it done and ended up coming into pit road. I think he was trying to stay out to get that bonus point, but with Yazek not pitting, he decided, hey, I'm going to go pit anyway. And so he's going to be hurting here on the short run. Some of these drivers are going to overtake him here early, but if this thing does stay green, he's going to have fresher tires by about 5 laps on some of these guys. So he'll have a little bit fresher tires and be able to make that run as this run goes on. So for his sake, Alan Young is going to hope that this thing stays green.
Yes, and I want to confirm 24 did not lead a lap, as we're seeing the 18 of Doug Mullins. I'm just trying to once again to be frustrating things. I know the 18 usually has a purple car, a purple truck with a Slice sponsorship, Berkey Pints as well. Great sponsors, fantastic sponsors for the racing league. They've really come in, stepped up, and showed the league that they really do care about esports sim racing. So unfortunately, they're not showing up in the truck, but I always want to give a shout out to Slice, local Florida pizza joints, and Berkey Pints after Doug Mullins is developing. Pretty cool. We'll see if we can talk to him about that later on in the race. Going on, Doug Mullins also going down pit road as well, giving up the race lead and possibly a lot of spots. He was maybe trying to get a caution to come out, but that's the only thing I would think of, but it didn't come out, and he's going to be down a lot of spots, especially with these drivers pitting a lot earlier than they did. You've seen the 51, who does still have some right side and front end damage, but pardon me, the way it's going, He's still pretty fast, contending himself in 3rd place. So you know what? You were right. Maybe he really isn't wishing for a caution, because it looks like that damage really, it may have costed him a win or a chance to win based on true speed. But so we're seeing a couple paint schemes pop up again. But that car's still fast enough to stay in the top 3 at least. So that's good to see. The Patriot machine still up there running up front. Will Worcester has retaken the lead with Brian Yazik. Actually, pardon me. Yeah, this happened. Will Worcester took the lead. Yazik was the race leader, I believe, before we started that pit stop. Agent, correct me?
Yeah, this undercut that I was talking about, Brian Yazik stayed out on the older tires, ran more laps on those old tires, and Will Worcester was actually one of her first guys to come in that was of that front group, so he was able to come out and run some burner laps while some of these other guys were on older tires, and almost made a 10 to 10 second difference. Was able to be ahead of Brian Yazik by a good amount when Yazik did come out of pit road, and that also put Mitch Brown, Elbryce Whitson Jr., and some of those guys close to Yazik as well. So Yazik surrendered a little bit of that lead, but he also is going to have the fresher tires as we go on. As I had mentioned with that, Yazik just ran a 30.7 there on that last lap, got fresh tires right now, and meanwhile Will Worcester ran a 30.8, so a little bit of discrepancy, as we'll see. It's only a tenth or two right now, but that tenth or two will compound itself as this run goes on, and Yazik should be able to make up this 3.5 second gap as the run lengthens. But this undercut seemed to work out for some of these guys, especially Will Worcester, especially if a caution were to come out. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the last 33 laps, as we did see it looked like Kelsey Rogers was going down pit road, so not a way that he wanted this race to go, being barely on the outside line. But as you had mentioned, Mitch Brown currently 4 points to the good, holding that 8th place, but currently holding P3 on the racetrack, and that's exactly where he wants to be in this race, regardless of a little bit of front right damage.
Looks like some of the paint schemes are getting fixed. We're seeing the 18 of Dirk Mullins with the correct paint scheme now. So it's great to see the Slice and Porcupine's machine actually.
I think it only took you talking about the sponsorship for the trading paints to be like, hey, you know what, we should work, so that way he's not talking about nothing. So good to see Porcupine's and Slice there on his car.
Why don't we go ahead and take a quick moment, right? Because right now, after pit stops are over, let's go through the field and just see what some of these drivers are doing from the start of the race to how they're doing now. Of course, Will Worcester, we saw him doing a very, very good job of just staying up front as I'm trying to get the ticker, everything's working up right. Once again, in case you're not familiar, all those drivers highlighted in blue on the ticker, and when the paint schemes are working correctly on track with the yellow spoiler and yellow windshield banner, those are all playoff drivers. Top 8 will advance to the next round after this race. Will Worcester having a great job, did a great job staying with Brian Yazik, and with that pit stop exchange, got over about a 3.5 second lead. Of course, that lead is dwindling now to about 2.8 seconds with Brian Yazik in second place. Of course, I believe he's the current most lap-led leader here tonight. Currently in second, and if he just keeps at it very, very patient and doesn't make a mistake, he should be able to catch up Will Worcester. He should be able to catch up to Will Worcester to maybe contend to retake that lead. It could be a very, very nice battle for the win with 30 laps to go at the moment. Mitch Brown had a very, very strong truck. As a matter of fact, he still does, but that right side slash front end damage is costing him a little, I want to say. But it could also maybe be a bit of a small benefit. That added drag could help him maybe knock off some of that looseness that he's feeling, but at the expense of drag. Started in third and is staying in third. We got the 88 of Elbryce Whitson Jr., who once again also started fourth and is currently at fourth. Oh, pardon me, I've been reading that wrong this whole time. He did not start fourth, he started seventh. So he improved by 3 positions, doing pretty good. He does have some rear end damage, but I don't think that may have anything to do with the wall. It looks like he may have made some contact either entering pit road or at some point in the race. He does have some rear end spoiler damage. Doing pretty good, contending himself, putting himself in a good position, improving on the races where he started at. So it's great to see him have a good finish up front here. You got the six truck Jared Hagley, one of the playoff contenders, currently finding himself in 5th place. Not really much of an improvement or disimprovement from the start of the race, but pretty good and in good hands right now. Looking to see him finish strong. We got the 6th place truck of Jimmy McKee. No sponsorship, but I believe that's actually how his truck is always located. So if you are a business person who has a business and you're wanting to sponsor a truck, look no further than Jimmy McKee, doing a pretty good job running up in the top 10, currently in 6th place. Really good job compared to the start of the race. Looking to find himself in once again another good finish. So if you're interested, feel free to sponsor his race truck. In 7th place, we're going to have the 28 of Troy Haight. Troy, another good run by Troy, currently finding himself in the top 10, currently 7, improvement of 5. Looking to see if he can get himself another good finish. I'm saying that a lot about these drivers, but all these drivers, they're doing good jobs, and if they can keep it up, they're going to have a great finish. Troy Haight, not currently he is not a playoff driver, but just showing the field that he's there to compete. Because right behind him is a 24 of Alan Young. He's one of the drivers that was outside looking in, had himself a very good run. I believe he qualified 14th, an improvement of about 6 spots. Pardon me. Getting himself in a position where he wants to win the race for sure, but if he can get himself in a good position here to just advance to the next round, I'm sure he'll take that. Tyler Saville in 11th place. That's not right. In 9th place. Sorry, I was looking at his number. He is the number 11 in 9th place. Another great run by Tyler, kind of saving himself to advance to the next round. We got the 39er Mark Kahn. First race back in a long time, and in the top 10.
Our leader, Will Warsler, sorry to interrupt you, just got really loose out of 4. He was able to save it. I don't know how he saved that, but sorry to interrupt, but he just got really loose out of 4 there, somehow was able to save it, and Brian Yazik is all over him with the pressure tires now.
Oh, the 55 of Yazik goes, wow, I would have thought that he went around.
Left and right.
Let's go back on that. He's going to lose a couple spots there. 55 just gave it too much beans, getting himself back in the corner, and did a great job of using the apron of rotating his car back into a position where he could save it. Lost a couple spots, and he's now finding himself in 3rd. He just lost only 1 spot. So Mitch Brown finds himself in 2nd, 2 seconds back, where Brian Yazik lost, I want to say about 2.5, maybe almost 3 seconds worth of time there. As Yazik also has a couple lap drivers there to worry about. As we're pretty much done with the through the field there, going through the top 10. We see a couple lap down vehicles of, pardon me, you're going to have to take over because I got the hiccups.
Well, just you were going through the field, and some of the other things I wanted to mention is Jim Foose, currently running the 16th position, was just lapped right before all of this occurred. He is one of the drivers who is only 10 points to the good, so his running 16th can possibly open the door for some of these other drivers on the outside looking in, specifically Alan Young, who currently is running 7th, started 14th, but he's been making his way forward. He was one of the later ones to stop with Brian Yazik. Began this stint about 25 seconds behind the leaders and has now cut it to about 19. Also has gained about 3 or 4 positions since he had pitted. So the fresher tires might work out here for him in the longer run, as he's worked his way up to 7th. And like I said, with Jim Foose in 16th, there's a possibility to get some points there. Mitch Brown doing everything he needs to do, currently in 2nd. With Yazik right behind him, but currently he doesn't have to worry too much. He can kind of let Yazik go and just try to keep as many points as possible. So some of the outside guys looking in, as I mentioned, Alan Young is the main one that is currently having the best day with a chance to bump himself in. Tim Knott also having a pretty good day. He's 5 points out, so he probably is on the outside looking in at the end of this one, but Tim Knott currently on the lead lap, running 12, started 9th, so having a pretty solid day for him as well. And then Richard Stallings is currently in 23rd position, 5 laps down. He was the truck that we'd seen sideways on pit road. So Richard Stallings was 18 points to the good, so he did have a lot of leeway, but he is leaving a pretty open door there, running down in 23rd, 5 laps down. There is one other truck, J.R. Bash, He just passed, actually, who was 5 laps down, so he is able to move up. Yeah, J.R. Besh did take his truck to the garage, so that's good for Richard Stallings, able to make up 1 more point there. Steve Buhala is 2 laps ahead of him, so looking to make up as many points as possible there, but definitely a lot of shuffling that could go on with the standings, but here we are in the race with 17 to go, so clock is winding down. Will Worsler currently holding on to a 1-second lead after Yazik's got really loose, and because of Yazik getting loose, he did fall back to 3rd with Mitch Brown able to take over 2nd place, and Mitch Brown currently still holding 2nd, so I wonder if Yazik is thinking, hey, I need to be a little bit more careful, or if Yazik may have scrubbed off a little bit of speed on those tires there, as Yazik is currently sitting in 3rd, and meanwhile through all of this, Alan Young up into 6th, still closing in on Jared Haggerty for 5th, so a lot of action going on here, and as we had seen that last run, it was about now when some of these trucks started to get really loose, so there's currently 16 to go. Most of these drivers pitted about 42, about halfway, so a lot of these drivers here are about 25 laps into their run, and this is about where everything starts to get loose. So we could see a lot of shuffling here going on, as we had seen Ty Hester get loose and lose the lead. We had seen Yazik and Worsler, and I feel like everybody has probably gotten loose, whether they were mentioned on broadcast or not.
That's true. Every driver here at this point has saved the truck at least a couple times. I have an announcement to make. It's official. Jordan Harnish and I are now Facebook friends. So just publicize that to the world. Going on, it's a great run for Alan Young, as you were mentioning, 6th place. Although he's been plateauing there, one of the bigger things that you mentioned that we're seeing is Will Worsler just slowing down from his early pit road entry. It's seeming to catch back up to him, especially since there hasn't been a caution yet in this race. 51 is there, and I do not expect the 29 to lead. Maybe after the next 2 laps, maybe even after this backstretch, turns 3 and 4, going in there side by side, pretty close. The 29 is holding him down there. Wow, a couple things happened there. The 29 got loose. The 51 checked up to not run into him, and the 55, Ryosik, just was going sideways left and right to not spin out his truck, which the 55 should have been the biggest winner there, especially with the 2 front trucks checking up and going side by side, as now the 51 has an edge, but now he's loose, slipping and sliding as the 51 trying to block off the 55 of Brian Yazik. Yazik doesn't know where to go. He's just going to stay behind him, as Will Worsler buys himself a couple more laps of breathing room. AJ, a lot of things are happening there, but another thing that's happening is this is allowing drivers like the 88, the 6, and the 24 to catch up. Maybe not the 6 and the 24 because they're really far back, but the 88, if they keep on going at it like this, the 88 has a good chance of being there, maybe having a good spot. With, I would say, probably the cleanest tires, considering he's not really going all out to go side by side with these guys, as Will Worsler is by himself just about a second's worth of breathing room, as the 51 and the 55 are well, they're not necessarily battling side by side, but they might as well be, considering how hard they're pushing each other to advance and just try to pull away and maybe catch up to the 29. The way that's going, that last lap, they plateaued against the 29 and hurt the race leader, especially as they're going side by side through lap traffic. But going into this corner, it seems like the 55 of Mitch Brown was able to just slowly catch up to Will Worsler just a little bit, as slowly but slowly these second and third place drivers are avoiding lap traffic, and soon the 29 of Will Worsler will as well, AJ.
Yeah, coming to the line here with only 10 to go. You gotta wonder if these guys will be able to catch back up. They have the fresher tires, they've had the speed. We were able to see them close in that last time. They were all over Will Worsler, even inside of him, but with Mitch Brown getting a little bit loose, that opened the door for Will to be able to pull away. But now through lap traffic, at least Mitch Brown is through lap traffic. Yazek still has to work his way through. This kid opened the door for a little bit of clean room here for these guys to try to catch Worsler. As I mentioned, Worsler went for the undercut, was able to get the lead, was able to get a couple second lead, but has the older tires by about 4 or 5 laps, so is giving up a little bit each lap, but laps are winding down. I cannot talk, but laps are winding down here with 9 to go. All of these drivers are facing looseness, and it's going to be about who can keep their truck straight, who can continue to get through lap traffic, and if they can slowly pull, they're still gaining 10th each lap, and at this rate, they're going to be right back onto Will Worsler here when we get to the end.
While you were talking, I was showing on board with the 55 of Yazig, and that man is moving his hands left and right throughout the corners. Let's go take a look and see how Mitch Brown is handling his steering wheel, seeing how the car is behaving. I would say Mitch Brown definitely has a little bit more of a well-behaving race truck compared to Yazig, but we also have been seeing Yazig sliding that tail around more than 51 of Mitch Brown. So it's possible that Mitch Brown probably has the best advantage here between these three drivers. As at this point, I don't think the 88 of L. Bryce Woodson will have anything to say about this lead going on, especially with 7 laps to go here. However, these second and third place drivers have caught up with the 29 of Will Worsler. As my imagination thought the 29 hit the wall. I was about to say something, but he didn't. The 51 of Mitch Brown is right there now. Just one mistake from Will Worsler will allow the 51 to continue, but at the same time, one mistake from Will Worsler and Mitch Brown could have a really good chance of Brian Yazig pulling off a very, very nice win here. As we're 6 laps to go. These drivers are all running pretty much essentially different lines. As the 51 had to check up. Slight contact.
What a save to be able to keep that thing straight, and Will Worsler is going to enjoy his extra little bit of time gain, but we've seen these guys pull up within a couple laps, and I'd expect to see it again here soon. One quick thing to note, Alan Young must have had a little bit of trouble, fell back to 9th place, so that is not good for him points-wise, but he still has a chance, just has to be able to make up a couple more positions. A lot of drivers within the next couple of seconds of him, so he might be able to make that, but here we're seeing these front 3 guys are going at it back and forth, lots of shuffling involved. Will Worsler currently holding on to a 7th, 10th lead that basically just keeps tug of war, and it keeps getting up right onto the back of him. It looks like they're about to make a move, and then nobody can hold that bottom line. And I think Will knows that, because he's been going up towards the top a little bit more every single time that somebody closes in on him, making them try to go to the bottom, and nobody can make that bottom line stick, especially out of turn 2, as Brian Yazig is currently trying to close as much as he can. He closed a 10th and a half on that last lap, and that would currently put him on his rear bumper with the white flag, but Mitch Brown has got something to say about that, driving up right onto the back of Yazig.
It's a great run by pretty much these top 3 drivers. So while they are all making mistakes, even the best drivers will probably make a mistake like this every once in a while, considering just how much of a challenge it is to drive these heavy trucks on this very slick racetrack. Going side by side now for 2nd place. This is exactly what Will Worsler wants to see going on in his rearview mirror. He probably wants to see this battle just a little bit more closer, especially throughout the corners as they check up. However, they're going single file now. 3 I can't read. 3/10 of a second behind Will Worsler, with about 2 laps to go now, heading into turns 1 and 2. This is looking to be another exciting race here in the American Simpulse Racing Series, Racing League, with the Sam Maxwell Custom Truck Series. Sam Maxwell unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, not being able to do race control, but looking forward to having him return next time by. Going side by side, not side by side, but going sliding side. You know, I had something in my brain.
Nose to tail through these front 3.
Yeah, thank you.
I believe nose to tail is what you meant to do. Mitch Brown trying to look to the inside as white flag is out. These guys are on the last lap. Mitch Brown trying to dive it down into 1. We have 3 different lines, 3 different strategies between these 3. Will Worsler with the oldest tires, Yazig with the newest, and Brown right in the middle. Brown and Yazig are looking to be side by side. As long as Will can hold his truck straight, he should be able to end up with this thing in Victory Road. But the question is for 2nd and 3rd, is they're side by side coming out of 4. Yazig gets loosened into the wall. Mitch Brown is going to take 2nd place. Will Worsler is going to be your winner with a 1 car length gap on Mitch Brown. Yazig was giving it as much as he could, and Will Worsler showing off with a little bit of asphalt dirt tracking through turn 1 and 2. But what a finish. As we were talking about, those guys are going to be right on his tail at the end, and they got right there, and it was everybody giving everything they had. Yazig just got loosened up into the wall, and as I had mentioned in pre-race, if you're new to this is going to be a great race, and man, was it.
something we're able to see right here, so I have to get closer to the mic to say this. Ninth place is Alan Young. He lost a couple spots there while we were focusing on the lead group. That's not going to be good for his playoff chances, but we're going to try to see if we can get a confirmation as who's in and who's out before we wrap up tonight's broadcast. If not, then feel free to check out our Twitter and or America's Impossible Racing Series Facebooks and Twitter just to see who is in and who is out. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick moment while we let the 29 of Woolworthshire celebrate another fantastic victory. All right, welcome back after seeing these teammates going doing some celebratory burnouts here after the 29 of Woolworthshire won a race. But we were doing some quick maths, AJ, and AJ, what did you have? What were you saying to me?
Yeah, it appears to be Mitch Brown was a couple points to the good going into tonight, and with that second place finish is going to be able to keep him up into the top 8. Alan Young hurt himself there a little bit at the end, ended up 9th, was running up about 5th most of the day, so that would have been nice for him. But with Jim Foose ending up 15th and Richard Stallings ending up 22nd, both of those guys seem to have enough clearance. I obviously don't know the final tally. It will be close, but they seem to have enough clearance point-wise to be able to move on.
All right, very well. And we also know you caught up to our third place finisher, Brian Yazik. Why don't you go ahead and talk to him?
Yeah, I have Brian Yazik here, our third place finisher. Was pretty fast in practice, really fast in qualifying, and ended up third place tonight. Just kind of give us a recap of your day.
With the way that we figured out this place in practice, we knew that keeping the right rear on it was going to be really important, and it seemed like a lot of guys struggled in 3 and 4, so that's where I really focused on being, trying to be good, and that's kind of where I wanted my best corner to be. And we were there, most of the night. Just had the thing strategy-wise. I think we had the good one, going a little long and then trying to get the fresher tires. I mean, I don't know. We shot ourselves in the foot too many times. Probably the reason we didn't deserve to win it. So that's frustrating for this HPP simulation. Love Pedal Motorsports Tundra, but it's one of those deals. They know you were here, but doesn't make you feel a whole lot better.
Well, you started third, ended up third, pretty consistent, ending up on the podium tonight. We did see that you were the one who stayed out the longest, like you said, trying to get the fresh tires more towards the end. You were able to catch up to the leaders there, just a little bit of mistakes to not be able to make it through. If you could change things, do you think you would have stayed on that overcut, or do you think you would have fitted a little bit more halfway?
Nope, I would have. If we'd re-rack everybody and rerun that race, I'd do the exact same thing. What bit me was, I got loose because, you get that leader right in front of you and you start pushing the throttle down a little bit more. Snap loose and burn the right rear off of it. That's when I was pretty much even. I lost all of my advantage when I had that big Fast and the Furious Tokyo drift there in turn 1, and just trying to play catch up from there. But I think strategy wise we had him. I mean, we ran Will down from 4.5 seconds down to 1.5, and we were trucking. Just shot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, you definitely had the speed tonight. We were on the broadcast when you had gotten loose out of 2 there. It was a fantastic save by you, as we've seen fantastic saves all night for this thing to stay green the whole time. I feel like every single person had a great save, and try to give our viewers a little bit of a example of how loose that truck was, other than what they've seen tonight.
I mean, really, from the driver's seat standpoint, you were in control of it with your right foot. If you were really easy on the throttle, it would kind of take care of you. But where it was loose was and it was different because the breeze was kind of blowing across 1 and 2. So it would land in turn 1, and if you were careful with it, you could make it through turn 1. If you just, flat-footed it, then you were going to get loose. But kind of the middle of 3 and 4, if you goosed it just a little too fast, that right rear would try to really whip around, and that bottom lane is kind of where we were running, and that's where I like to be. So that was the big thing, is if you were careful with it, but you knew that you were overstepping it, because you'd feel it start to lose it about halfway through the corner, and then the only way to save it is just let back out of it, let the rear end reset, and then pick up and go from there.
Thank you, Brian. Very insightful knowledge here. Any shout outs here before we let you go?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt like a poor sport to celebrate. I didn't give Will a shout out last time. So credit to Will for locking down another win. He's a tough competitor out there. So good to see him having some success. Mitch had a good run. I mean, like I said, us in our HPP simulation Tundra, we were doing all right, but just needed that little bit extra. The driver needed to use that little hunk of meat between his ears a little bit more, and we probably would have been, doing the donuts on the front stretch.
Yeah, so Brian Yazek here, third place finisher tonight, ends up on the podium. Wishes he had it back to drive it a little bit differently, but all in all, a great race to start third, end third. Very consistent, very smooth. Was able to keep that truck clean and have a good finish tonight.
All right, AJ, thank you so much. And I believe you're also catching up with the 51 of Mitch Brown.
Yeah, doing double duty here with Mitch Brown. Started 4th, ended up 2nd. Had a great last run there to be able to get by Yazek, as well as challenge Worsler. Just couldn't make that bottom line stick. Just tell us about your night here.
The goal for the night was, since we were 8th place, we were on the bubble. We were just trying to get max points as much as we can. And once I saw those guys drive away from me early in the race, I just kind of bide my time and just started saving my tires. So, I can't complain about second, but I feel like, we definitely had the truck to win, especially on the long run.
Yeah, Will Worsler went for the undercut, was able to get him that lead, but both you and Yazek were closing very hard there towards the end. Anything that you would have done differently trying to chase Worsler down, look into the inside to make that move?
I really wouldn't. I don't know. I didn't run the top side at all tonight, and I mean, every time I got to the bottom, I just underneath him, would get really loose, and the rear end would snap out. Maybe if I had one more chance, I might have cleared him, but I mean, I really wouldn't. I don't know. It was just so tough with him on the outside, and just pinching me a little bit, and that side force just took the air right off my spoiler, and just made the car a little, truck a little too loose.
Yeah, fantastic run still. And I know that you were only a couple points to the good, but I was wondering if there was a point there where you were towards the front and gonna think about backing out of it to make sure that you made it on through the playoffs, but you were definitely gunning for that win. So I was very interested that you decided to, hey, I'm gonna go for the win instead of just taking the points that you were given. But a very good day for you today to be able to stay up into the top 8, move on to the next round within the points. Do you have any shout outs for anyone?
Well, we gotta thank everyone at Dirty Racing Racing, everyone at ASRS, Jim, put on the races each and every week, and especially you guys for broadcasting each and every week. Y'all do a great, fantastic job. And no, that's it. Just looking forward. Got a couple weeks off, and then we're gonna go to Talladega and see if we can get ourselves a win there.
Well, on our end, thanks for the shout out very much. And for you guys, that was a fantastic race. Way to put on a great show. It definitely makes our job as broadcasters easier when we're able to see great racing like that. And that last corner move was fantastic. So congrats on the second place finish tonight, and good luck on your next race.
Thanks, guys.
And I believe Carlos Acosta will have our race winner, Will Worsler.
Yes, give me one moment as I try to figure out what's going on here. And let's go see if we can bring in our race winner here from the Discord. Here he is, Will Worsler. Are you there? Do you have a copy? And have you drunk enough champagne?
I got a copy, man. I'm drinking kombucha, not champagne.
All right, well, there you go. Congratulations. You were definitely running in the 90s throughout the majority of this race, but you got yourself another race win here. Tell me how it means and just what type of challenge it was out here tonight to even do well.
But it means a lot because, number one, the racing conditions, man, they were tough. It was super loose, especially after 15 laps or so. It was really easy to burn the right rear off, and the exit of 4 could be extremely tricky. And when you're racing guys that are fast like Mitch Brown and Brian Yazik, and you're able to finish ahead of them, it makes it that much better. I mean, you know, who you beat makes all the difference to me. And racing against those guys, it's always fun. It's always a challenge because they're always fast. And so it makes this win pretty sweet.
That's great to hear, Will. I believe it's safe to say that you get to advance to the next round, so congratulations. It's going to be a while before we do go back to Truck Series. At least the next 3 races are going to be Cup. Are you looking forward to that? And are you looking forward to returning to the trucks once we do get back there?
I look forward to the trucks more than I do Cup. I'm not really a fan of the Cup package. I don't like how they keep it all packed together as best they can. And I'm hoping one day they change it back. But you know, I look forward to all of them at this point. Playoff time, it's time to get serious, and I'm going to try to show up each week and put forth my best effort, you know, and started with this week.
That's great to hear. Moving on, I think that's pretty much going to cover it for the majority of us. Definitely gave it a very, very hard run out there, but you ended up coming home to the top. But before we do let you go, so you can celebrate and keep on drinking more of what you said you were drinking, do you have any shout-outs for us?
Yeah, man, I need to give shout out to my sponsors, Perky Pints and Slice, my teammates Doug and Tyler, and my wife and my buddy Craig for watching my races every week. And it all makes it that much more fun to have people like that involved and give me the support that I need.
Your wife was definitely cheering you on out here tonight. She was actually a little bit active there in the comments, saying just how happy she was. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Will. We do hope you celebrate and you bring over this momentum to the next rounds of the playoffs, as well as the next couple of races. Even though you prefer the trucks, that's fine. Thank you so much, Will, and we wish you good luck.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. Love for E-Wide.
Thank you so much. Now, for this next time, I was actually just thinking about only talking to Jim, but we're going to go ahead and tag team this up, as we're also going to just have a very short interview with the 4th place finisher, the 88 of L. Bryce Whitson Jr. L or Bryce, or I'm sorry, I don't know how you prefer to be called. How was your night overall here tonight?
Oh, I'll take Bryce. It's what I prefer. But it was a great race overall. I'll tell you what, this was a slick ass track tonight, man. It was that was not what I was expecting coming into this race. I was expecting something a little bit on the tight side. Woo, we really had to drive it out there.
Yeah, I will say, I too thought this would have been a somewhat of a tight race. I don't know if this has anything to do with the new build that came out. I'm not sure, but whatever it was, it definitely gave everybody here, including the drivers, just something great to watch and to be a part of. Caution-free race, is not the first time this league has done it, but just to be a part of a caution-free race, that's just something that's amazing to just even think about. You're finishing 4th, and you're getting some strong momentums. We'll be seeing you in the next 3 events, which are all going to be Cup Series races.
That's the plan. You know, I want to bring the Be the Match Chevy out for all the Cup races as well as all the truck races. It's a cause I really believe in. BeTheMatch.org is the national bone marrow registry program to allow people to come out and become bone marrow donors. I myself have been a bone marrow recipient. I had a stem cell transplant. I've actually had 2 of them, and so, you know, I like to get the name out there for BeTheMatch.org and try to get young people to sign up because you might just save a life.
It's a fantastic cause, and just great to even have you racing out here tonight. Just proves to what an important cause it is in general. So thank you so much, Bryce. Before we do let you go to finish off a strong race, do you have any shout-outs you want to give out?
Yeah, you know, I want to shout out my nephew Gary. Gary Whitson and I, we've raced ASRS before. We're glad to be back here with Jim Foose and Sam Maxwell. Looking forward to running the whole season next year and hopefully bringing back some more champions.
All right, that's great to hear. Well, thank you so much, Bryce, and we do wish you good luck in the next coming events.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I do want to just go ahead and get straight to business, but Jim, that would be incredibly rude of me. Jim, how was your race tonight?
It was pretty wild. I think Bryce said it best there. It was really slick. It was really a driver's race. We had an up and down night. We qualified really good. I mean, when was the last time we saw the 42 qualify in the top 10? But really good qualifying effort there, and good effort all night long by the team. But you know, we're in a place where we got to protect the points that we had coming in. I think we had 10 points coming in, so we had to protect that a little bit and just try to make it to the next round of the playoffs, because we all know that Talladega is one of my better tracks. So we'll see how we do.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you didn't get the finish that you wanted, but do you, by any chance, have the confirmed the list of those who advanced at the moment, or will we have to wait a little bit later for that?
I do, actually.
Oh, well, why don't you go ahead and enlighten us, Jim?
I just set the piece of paper down when you guys came over to interview. Can't balance the Gatorade, the phone, and the piece of paper. All right, so the drivers that got knocked out: Alan Young, Tim Knott, Kelsey Rogers, and of course Evan Black. And that would put Will Worsler in, Tyler Seville, Jared Haggerty, Jared Mogard, Mitch Brown, Jason Stewart, Richard Stallings, and yours truly will take the final spot by 6 points going into the round of 8.
All right, well, there you have it there, folks. The confirmed list. Of course, any penalties will come with adjustments going after that. Actually, as a matter of fact, if there are any penalties, will that take place after or before the points reset?
It'll definitely take place before, so we'll go through. We'll get everything squared away. Obviously, no strikes, nothing like that.
Yeah, it should be a quick. It should be a quick.
Yeah,
quick Wednesday for you. It's not the first time it's happened, but it's just great to even be a driver, let alone a league owner, that had another race go caution free, especially a race at a difficult track like this, where it just seemed a little bit almost unexpected. Anyway, Jim, moving on, we see the next 3 events are going to be Cup races. Are you looking forward to those, and what are you planning for those as well?
We're definitely going to be there. We're going to use the Richmond race next week as the final race to make the playoffs for the Cup Series. We have 3 different playoffs going on. We got the Sam Maxwell Customs Truck Series, the Sam Maxwell Customs Premier Series. That's both the truck and Cup, and then of course the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series Dash for Cash starts next sets the field next week, and we're right there on the bubble, kind of like we were for the round of 8 here. So we're hoping to get a good finish, but we're planning on using Richmond. If not for getting a really good finish, but getting laps on a bigger short track with the Cup car as we prepare for the Janet Watkins Memorial Pulmonary Fibrosis Awareness 250 here at the end of the month.
All right, we're all looking forward to it. Of course, we will be broadcasting that. So it's great to see a great cause, another great race. It's a pretty big month, especially for us, but also for a bunch of other leagues in general. So thank you so much, Jim. I believe that was a shout out. I'm having a little bit of a short-term memory loss right now.
I didn't get those in, so we got to
go ahead, please. By all means.
Toyota Racing Development, Maxwell, Hulko Intercon, American Regardless, iRacingiFlag, just everybody that puts this together. We also have a hashtag on our trucks. It's been there for a little over a year and a half now for my cousin Shelly, which is hashtag Do It For Shelly. So all our races we do for Shelly, we always do things, and anytime we're doing something interesting and fun, we kind of go back to that hashtag. So kind of just to remember her. And then, of course, with my grandma's memorial race coming up this month, this is definitely a busy month for me, and should be a good one. Also want to just a quick shout out. Before the race, I was watching a bunch of 9/11 memorial shows, and just want to say thank you to everybody that responded, the first responders that day, anybody that's a first responder now. But that's just an incredibly sad day in our nation's history, and we really got to be thankful for the people that we have, and thankful for the ones that made it out and made it through, but also remember the ones that didn't.
Yes, I agree very much, and we'll also be broadcasting tomorrow. We'll have a special thing there planned with the league we're working with. So thank you so much, Jim. We do wish you to have an excellent week. I know you're going to have a very easy Wednesday tomorrow. You're also premiering another series tomorrow as well. I don't know if we're going to take a quick moment to talk about that.
Yeah, so we have the home track series is turning into a development series more so every week, it seems like, and it's going to be the Grand National Series, which features the NASCAR Xfinity Series cars. They're going to race a pretty diverse schedule. We got some things straightened out with it, but tomorrow night we kick that off at the ISM Raceway. No broadcast deal for it. It's kind of an open enrollment. It's where we try out drivers for this series and just kind of get the ball rolling. It also, Sam Maxwell is no longer running the Premier Series as he wants to take a step back and move into the officiating role where I'll be with him next year. And it's a place that him and I get to go have some fun and race together.
That's great. Thank you so much, and we do look forward to seeing you next week. Now, AJ. Now, AJ, that took just a little bit longer than we planned, but that doesn't mean we get to cut out any of all that, because we do have one last thing we have to go over before we wrap up tonight's broadcast, and that is the final results. That is not the right graphic. There we go. That's the final results. Congratulations to Will Worcester, Mitch Brown, finishing first, second, Brian Dosek. Also, they're competing with a fantastic race to the finish. Those last 30 laps are just beautiful to watch. This is something I can find myself watching over and over again. We got L. Bryce Whitson Jr. finishing a strong fourth, Jared Haggerty fifth, Troy Haight will be finishing sixth, Doug Mullins in seventh, Tyler Seville in eighth, Alan Young ninth, and Mark Kahn back from, I believe it was an injury that he was recovering from, in 10th. AJ, why don't you go ahead and take 11th?
Yeah, Tim Knott in the double 11th, the last car in the lead lap. Lee Staples 12th. Jonathan Holstein 13th, Edward Bray 14th, Jim Foose, who we just talked to, 15th, Jimmy McKee 16th, Jason Stewart 17th, Cody Speecher 18th, Richard Fletcher 19th, and Kelsey Rogers 20th.
In 21st, we're going to have Steve Buhala. In 22nd, we'll have the 17 of Richard Stallings. 23rd will be J.R. Bash, Gary Whitson in 24th, Ty Hester will be finishing 25th, Brad Cross in 26th. With Jack Wells in 27th. And that's going to pretty much wrap it up here tonight. AJ, do you have any final words based on what we saw here?
Yeah, so first off, we want to thank you from 3Y TV for everybody who tuned in to watch tonight's race. As you could see, it was a fantastic race. Green, the whole race from flag to flag, very clean racing, very hard racing, some fantastic saves, as well as some great battles there at the end. So we had a little bit of everything tonight on a hot, slick Las Vegas track. I'm very thankful to be up in the booth today with Carlos, and very thankful
Thank you for
to be able
saving
to
me
provide
today.
you guys with a race today.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Look forward to working with you some more. You're a driver who earlier in the year we didn't even know about it, and now you're one of our favorite people to hang out with, and your dabble into broadcasting is turning out to be a really great thing. And just the more broadcasts you have in you, the better you're going to get. I look forward to hopefully seeing that with you. So anyway, thank you so much. I want to go ahead and say a quick shout out to all of our fine folks supporting us, including you guys watching here tonight. I want to thank OCR TV for providing the wonderful graphics that we got, as well as Sim TV for providing the wonderful camera package we see. Thank you so much, AJ, for helping me out tonight. And once again, final shout out to everybody here watching, whether you're watching it live or broadcast. What was that, AJ?
I want to give one more plug. If you're watching and you have nothing to do tomorrow night, come check out the Impossible Series race. We'll have some B-Car Series here at Las Vegas as well. So another fantastic opportunity to watch some great racing. But thanks for everybody for tuning in.
All right. Thank you so much, and we'll see you all next week.